Hey, true believers, England Teen here for the Homegrown Tourist. All right, with me, we have the real Dr. VENKMAN, except no substitutes. And we have the Professor Pixel himself.
Hello.
And we have POTE's Thump. How you doing today, sir?
How's it going, everybody?
All righty, so we've got a lot of news to talk about, and I'm very excited to get into some of this. We're going to touch upon the whole opening and not opening of Disney World and Disneyland again. Before we do anything, we've got to do a shout out. We've got to pay a bit of respect, however, because Marge Champion, Disney legend, as they call her, and she very well has earned this title, unfortunately passed away at the ripe old age of 101. If you do not know who Marge Champion is, trust me, you do know her. She is the voice of Snow White. So while the whole Disney empire was started by a mouse, the movies were helped started by Marge Champion. And I think she deserves the respect and a rest in peace from all of us. So there we go. I heard about this, and I do have to admit, I went same thing as everybody else. Wow, congratulations to her for making it to 101. You know, and she did a movie that set off a movie empire. And you could say, you know, somebody else could have done, I don't know. It's just that, you know, Snow White, it's an iconic film. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I love it. I think it's got some of the most, talk about Halloween. It's got some of the scariest images in Disney movies in that film. My favorite being when the queen comes running down. She's got the great idea. You know, she's transformed herself, and she comes across a skeleton reaching out for a pitcher of water. Mm-hmm. And she laughs at him, have a drink, and she kicks over the thing and it's empty. And I always wondered, did it ever have water in it to begin with? Yeah, I thought that was been so cool. So there you go. Like I said, rest in peace to Marge Champion. And alrighty.
2020, man, Snow White was killed in 2020, man.
No, she wasn't killed. She could
have held on if it would have been a better year.
Yeah, well, yeah, 2000. No, but let me see. Yeah, she wasn't killed. She had an affinity for dance from an early age. Her father, Ernest Belcher, was her first teacher, and he was a noted Hollywood ballet coach who trained Shirley Temple, Sid Charisse, Gwen Verdon. Wow, those are some big names for it. And she became a ballet teacher at her father's studio. Let me see if it has what in 2019 in celebration of Champion's 100th birthday. Animator and animation historian John Canemaker paid tribute to the Disney legend on his blog and shared some of her recollections of helping bring Snow White to life. It doesn't say how she passed away, but she was 101. That's why she died.
Hopefully it was in her sleep.
Yeah. Yes.
Not while driving.
That being said, and our main focus here is going to be talking about Disneyland. Now, you're closer to Disneyland than we are, and I'm right around the corner from Disney World, and Professor Pixel actually lives there. He actually lives in the other castle at Universal Studios, as people don't let him leave because they're always asking for Harry Potter autographs. But we were talking about the difference between how we're being treated and how Gavin Newsom is treating Disneyland. POTUS, you in particularly wanted to talk about this, and I'll let you take over if you would like, and you could have the floor.
Sure. I'm going to summarize it. Basically, I think it was actually an article that was put out by our friend Douglas Ernst with the Washington Times. I don't think he wrote the article himself, but one of his coworkers did. We kind of knew that this was coming because about a few weeks ago, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think Bob Iger stepped down from an economic roundtable that was focused on economic recovery in California due to the pandemic, and he stepped away from it. And it didn't really make waves. A lot of people just kind of treated it as, oh, he's just upping and going. And I was listening to the Disney food blog, and that's essentially what they said. They're like, oh, and in the news, Bob Iger stepped away from the economic recovery roundtable. And in other news, and so I just thought, wait a minute, this is actually pretty big. Because, okay, so you can't, as much as we like Disney, it's hard to divorce Disney, the corporation, from the theme parks and the politics. And Disney is fairly left-leaning, even though they do focus on family entertainment. So I just thought, no, Bob Iger stepping away is not good as far as like a political scene is concerned, because it means that the frustrations are running so deep that even political cronyism is not going to help you. If Disney is bleeding money because they're losing money from their theme park division, he's mad about it. Like, he is PO'd. And so basically, apparently Disney and Universal have both pretty publicly stated that they're really mad about the continuing shutdown of California. Now, my prediction, which I've said on several streams, is I think as early as November the 4th, I think that magically things will go back to normal. Obviously, that's conjecture. It is based on political knowledge. I mean, I don't consider myself a politico in any way, shape, or form, but I do think I'm more politically savvy than most people in comics and pop culture, simply because of connections I've made as of late. But that's essentially what it is in a nutshell.
I have a feeling that if Trump wins, fingers crossed he does, we're going to keep hearing that this is the death plague of the, and we need to keep the world shut down and damn all the deaths, from poverty. I just have that feeling, because they're going to want to continue, not just Trump. It doesn't matter. Trump's just the placeholder for he's not one of us. Because if the Democrats even lose after Trump's second term, that president will then get all of the hate and blah, blah, blah. And I think this will not end until we have a Democrat in the White House. And that's because they don't want to help out. They don't want to help out any kind of Republican recovery. That's just, once again, just conjecture. What we're seeing here also, now Gavin Newsom, they've been in talks over in California quite a bit while we've been opening a little bit. But we just got the go ahead. Restaurants can open full. You still have to wear the masks. You still have to, if you're going to Disney, you still have to stay the 6 feet away in line and all that kind of stuff. But Disney got the go ahead. Open all your restaurants to full capacity. Go on ahead. We're in stage 3. Yet Disney itself has said, no, we're not going to do that, which made me think that's politics. That's Disney afraid of the visuals, Twitter. That's Disney afraid of Twitter. Let's say what we mean here.
And let me interject real quick on that too. So you and I have not spoken in the last week and a half, approximately, since that mandate came through, when Ron DeSantis was like, nope, everyone's free to open. Go ahead and open as much as you can. And yet Disney is still under the same protocols as it was before that statement was made. And I think you're 100% correct. I do think it's political in nature, because the optics of basically almost agreeing with a Republican governor in the height of an election season, in a supposed pandemic that we should all be terrified of, was a visual that Disney did not want to have. Here's even further corroboration of that. Listen to any of the major Disney YouTubers who talk specifically about theme parks. They act like we're in the middle of a bubonic plague.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was watching Tim Tracker, and I can watch him still sometimes. But he was just like, oh, wait, nobody's around me. I got it. Dude.
The worst I ever heard. I love Disney food blog because I consider it pretty apolitical in terms of what it covers. It's typically, they'll do some fun videos where it's like top 10 secrets or whatever, but they mostly focus on food. But she did a few videos recently where there was one, and I had to play it for my wife because I was like, can you believe this stuff? She was like, it was like ways that we've like modified our behavior in 2020, and it was pretty innocuous. But there's a part where she goes, you do have to take your personal responsibility. Like, for example, maybe like if you forget to have your mask on, like you have someone in your group who's the mask spotter. So they're basically the one telling you like, oh, you forgot to put your mask on. And she was like, I went to the bathroom the other day, and when I left, I realized that my mask did not cover my nose. And I just thought, oh my gosh, how many people did I just endanger? How many people did I put at risk? And I just thought, lady,
probably zero. Let's be honest here.
Not as much as I do every day, though.
You act like you're transferring AIDS. Like, shut up. I was like so mad when I heard her say that, because I just thought, what is up? Like Disney World YouTubers and bloggers have a reputation already as being cultists. Like they have a very cult-like mentality. And I was like, lady, you are not helping.
I think they also don't want to get in trouble with Disney too by doing that, you know.
It is here's something though. Now, if you are wearing your mask down, they will kick you out. They have Disney people going around. My whole thing is that Disney's thrown guest service out the window. They don't give a crap anymore. And I've mentioned this as I've met supervisors and such. I'll say, yeah, you guys don't really care about guest service anymore. And I gave an example. I said, I was walking outside in the parking lot, and this actually happened. Gail got pissed at me, but this guy goes, sir, your mask. Oh, okay, yeah. And I pull out my pocket. You know, I don't wear masks outside. I just don't. In the parking lot, fine. Look, you want me to wear it in the park? I will, no worries. But in the parking lot, I don't. So as we were approaching, I always put my mask on before we go in and we get the temperature check, the whole 9 yards. I make sure that everything is in proper order. So the person says, sir, you need to put your mask on. I said, all right. And I pull it out. Now, first thing I do is stretch it to make it just a little bit loose because, breathe. And I was doing that, and I was about to put it on and go, sir. I was like, and I turned around. I didn't plan on being an asshole and yelling at somebody that day, but he just hit that button. And I was like, and Gail's like, just move on, hun, move on. I couldn't freaking believe it. And I'm like, I've got it in my goddamn, and I turned around. I said, I got it in my goddamn hands. I'm 3 seconds away from putting it on my face, and you don't need, and he came at me. And I was like, okay, what is his game plan here? Is he going to start a fight over a face mask? Is this what's going to happen? And Gail kind of pushed me away. I'm like, and it really kind of surprised me that was going on, because literally I worked at theme parks for about 15, 20 years on and off. Now
I just recorded, make it go viral, and then just,
that would have been one way to do it. But here's excuse me, sir. I understand it's a big inconvenience, but we do need you to wear your masks at all times on any part of Disney property. I get it, but could you please could you please put your mask on? And I'm sorry, I do need to see you do it right here. He understands. If that when you say something like that, you understand. You get the idea that you're communicating that it is an inconvenience. It is something that maybe the guest doesn't want to do, but they have to do. Point being is there's an empathy there that is not there when Disney employees are talking about the mask thing. And now they're going to kick people out because of the mask going down below the nose. I have worn the mask and it slipped, and I'm oblivious. Or one thing I'm very bad about is I'll take the mask off in the bathroom. I'll just leave.
I was just saying, you're wearing those blue ones, the ones that those stretchy strings go around your ears. Yeah. After a while, they do fall down because you start talking, it pulls it down.
Yeah, the chin. I was doing that all day long with one of my masks. You look like you need something to say there, Professor.
Well, I was about to say I had that kind of moment too.
You beat up a guy in a parking lot?
And whenever you ride Blutos, they let you take your mask off. But as soon as I was done, I was walking off, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And I quickly just
Yeah, you
Put it up
forget
next-
about it. I can't tell you how many times I get up. Oh, like we're at the restaurants. It's where you know, you take it off to eat. Oh, okay, I got to go to the bathroom. Stand up, sir. Your mask off. I don't know anything.
I only wear a mask if I'm going to the grocery store or wherever I'm going, or else, you know. Otherwise, I don't really wear a mask, so I forget to, because my LCS doesn't require it. He's like, you know what? You come at your risk if you want to shop here. You don't have to.
I believe that's the way that the world should be taking it.
Yeah.
Right now, you should know if you're a risk. I'm more in danger from Professor Pixel than he is of me. You know, we've already found that out because of my age.
That poor worker. That poor worker. He could take someone off. The next guy, because you calm down. The next guy can murder him.
Point being, though, is that I know the risks. I know the risks because of my age, and people older than me should know the risks because of their age. And you should take the responsibility yourself to protect yourself when you go out. I don't think it should be mandatory anything. And that's one thing also during the debates. I'm like, guys, no, I'm sorry. Oh, well, Donald Trump should have had a plan. Yeah, he did. He said, let the states handle it. The states decide. You do not want in any way, shape, or form a federal mandate of anything. I always hated growing up. Anytime I heard anybody say, well, there should be a law. What you're saying, what you're thinking you're saying is that guy over there is doing something irresponsible. They should make it outlawed. But what you're really saying is I can't trust myself. Therefore, I need somebody to force me by gunpoint to make sure I'm doing that. Because ultimately, that's what it could lead to.
I have a family member who works at Walgreens. And one of the pharmacists basically came down with COVID. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to be 6 feet apart from her. She's like, well, my family member, she's like, well, I'm always less than 6 feet because you're always moving around doing stuff. You know, it's a small little room behind there trying to do stuff, you know, for the pharmacy and stuff. And she's thinking like, well, if the person tested positive, shouldn't I be staying home for 5-6 days? You know, because in order to take the test, they tell you like, well, unless you show symptoms, they want you to wait 5 or 6, 7 days, then come and take the test. You know, so my family member, she's saying, well, I don't have to stay home. I don't have to quarantine myself whatsoever. The Walgreens does not require that. Only if I can't test it positive. If I was the one that was,
Yeah, Gail had to stay home for 2 weeks before she could go back to work at Disney.
But that's because she had it, though. Now, if somebody she worked with had it, she can come back to work as much as they want, probably.
So we had, we actually, both of us stayed in. It was a pain in the butt. Because in all honesty, it was 2 days worth of, oh gosh. And then the rest of it's like, what do we do now? But here's the good news. We're talking with the topic really was the difference between us opening and California opening. Walt Disney World has had no reported cases. And that's the thing. We have no idea. Gail could have caught it at the Wawa, at the Walmart. Are you kidding me, ladies and gentlemen? Why don't we make it so you can only go to 2 places in your entire damn city, find out that everybody else you live in and you've never even met for a 52-mile radius is going to the same 2 buildings, and we're going to call that safer than going out to a gosh darn theme park. It's ridiculous. That being said, I'm happy to announce there are going to be some new stores and restaurants opening in downtown Disneyland. So at least while I was looking at something that said popcorn, while the theme parks aren't open, at the very least you're getting more shops, you're getting more restaurants and everything open in downtown Disney. So there is a kind of a bright side of a silver lining around this dark cloud. Anyway, Tim, you haven't said anything in a little bit.
Well, I went on a little mini rant, so I thought I would let people talk a little bit more. But now I will say this about Disneyland. So there are things where if they had done kind of the route that, so there's a possible exoneration that Disney World has, which is, okay, the governor is saying this, but for us as a private company, we are doing Y. So then the onus of responsibility is on Disney World as to what they do. The irony about it is that Disneyland probably has a bigger and stronger argument than Disney World. I've only been to Disneyland once. It was about 3 to 4 years ago. And the thing that strikes me about their version of it, I guess like their Magic Kingdom, so to speak, is it's small and it is crowded. Trying to actually maintain social distancing, quote unquote, if that's your thing, in that park would be infinitesimally harder than it would be in Walt Disney World, in any location, simply because of space. That's not an issue. So the funny thing is that if Newsom had opened up or had done something, an edict that's very similar to what Ron DeSantis did in Florida, I think that Disneyland could have had a fighting chance and could easily justify it as a non-political decision based solely on the limitations of size that they have. But like I go back to saying, I think Bob Iger walking away is a clear sign that their bottom line is that they have to start making money because they're bleeding every day. They're hemorrhaging like crazy. And I think that them trying to last through the election to keep the COVID scare a constant narrative, I think has really hurt them. And I think this is the sign of the time, so to speak, of all of this stuff happening. But I think the thing that is shocking to me is I am shocked that, because it's not just you, it's some other people I've been hearing this from, that the cast members, they are notoriously jolly typically. I mean, they're paid to be, basically. And they're going around and basically acting like Karens, which shows
gosh, they really are.
Yes, they basically are in a lockstep liberal mindset. So they've kind of swallowed the Kool-Aid, so to speak. And this idea of if you don't have your mask on, you're endangering everybody has really gone to their heads. But I think that 2 things have happened recently that are dispelling that notion, and I think people are seeing it. One of them is that we now have a model of success, and that's I forget if it's North Dakota or South Dakota. It's the one state that had no lockdowns whatsoever, 0. And they had, like, their numbers are really good. Now, granted, they are more sparse in terms of their location, but even in their more concentrated metropolitan areas, you saw a decrease. You saw much less risk of COVID, at least compared to the national average, if not matching it completely, which means that it's arguing that it would have mattered if you shut down or not. The numbers are pretty much equivalent. So we have that metric to go by. The second metric is the more visible one, which is, I think, what has put the media into a tizzy recently, which is that Donald Trump at the age of 74 got COVID, tested positive for 3 days, was on a therapeutic cocktail, including Regeneron, and recovered and was on the rally scene a week later. And so you had the left spinning it as a conspiracy theory, which I thought was delicious, because they were like, no, he was never sick to begin with. It was all a publicity stunt. And it's like, no, I think people are waking up and they're saying...
Did you see the debate?
I did. He was on fire.
But I'm talking about, I want to talk about Joe Biden on that one. He was doom and gloom.
Yeah, it was all about, he was making it sound like this is something that's going to last through however. And this is the perfect, if you are a liberal, if you're a far left big government guy, there is nothing more that you want than COVID, because you have like carte blanche to scare a population into doing whatever you want. In fact, kind of at the start of all this, I was joking with my wife. I was like, do you ever wonder if the mask thing is just basically, it's like that joke you play on kids where you're like, all right, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up, sit down, sit, and you're just trying to get them to see how many times they'll do it before they catch on to the fact that you're just pulling their chain. Well, I was like, what if the mask thing is just them saying, how much ridiculousness can we have the American public do before one of them is like, wait a minute, like none of this is adding up.
In the beginning of all of this, there was a quote where Fauci was talking about how he and Burke had been talking about, could they shut down the world if there was a pandemic? And now they found out, yes. So I'm thinking, how many times are we going to be doing this now? Because what happens when the next disease comes along? Are we going to be treating it normal, or are we going to be Chicken Little, the sky falling every time 3 or 4 people get sick in the same area?
You know what I think the whole mask is? It's part of the whole AOC's Green Deal, reducing emissions in the air, cover your mouth, carbon dioxide.
I don't know about that.
You wear it, it helps keep the cow farts out.
Because Joe said he's coming for your oil.
Well, swinging it back into some sort of realm of reality or anything. My wife absolutely 100% is a masker. Like I said, I won't put a mask on in a parking lot. Well, when we reach the building, I'll put it on. She is okay, before I get out of this car, boom. She got it. I mean, we're talking, she was on lockdown every time she went anywhere. You know, she made sure she was 6 feet away. She made sure she was always wearing a mask. First thing she does when she walks in, wash her hands with a first thing she does as she walks out, wash your hands, you know, with a cleanser and all that. And yet there you go. So a lot of people are seeing this kind of thing happen also and questioning it, but that's neither here nor there at this point in time. If you want to go to Disney, you got to wear one of these irritating masks. So it is the rules. It is the rules. Not, you know, you might not like it, but there you go. Let's see. It's been an eventful week, to put it mildly, in the ongoing reopening saga of Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. And in case you missed it this week, California released the reopening rules for theme parks, the effect of which is likely extending Disneyland's closure until summer of 2021.
No, they're not going to do that. They are not going to do that. I don't want to be a prognosticator, but I mean, have you seen what happened in Naples today?
No, what happened?
So Naples, they're in full riot mode. They want to lock it down again, and the people are not having it. I think that, I mean, we like to pride, Americans like to pride ourselves on our freedom, but freedom, I believe, is not only a universal right, but looking at humans, I think it's a human instinct. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing this kind of festering revolution happening where normal civilized human beings do not like being under the thumb of regimes telling them what they can and can't do, regardless of where that authority is coming from. I cannot foresee Disneyland being closed until summer of next year.
Do you know what, I would say real quickly, do you know what the mask remind me of? Like the 50s? Flash! Under your desk? That's what
under your desk if the nuclear bomb goes off.
Okay. Let's see, where was I? While smaller parks can open sooner, the theme park guidelines provide Disneyland and Disney California cannot reopen until Orange County reaches the yellow tier, at which at which point the parks will be limited to 25%. 25% was when we first opened just a few months ago. These long-awaited theme park reopening guidelines are also almost identical to what was leaked a few weeks ago about both Disney and Universal implored California to reconsider. These parks, along with the local leaders and health experts, believe that Los Angeles and Orange counties cannot conceivably reach their yellow tier in 2020 and most likely will not get there until summer of 2021 at the earliest. Let's see. Anaheim and Orange County leaders quickly spoke out quickly on the ramifications of California's theme park reopening rules. These guidelines fail working families and small businesses, stated Anaheim Mayor Harry Sadu in a statement to reopen OC now. Too many Anaheim hotels, stores, and restaurants will not survive another year of this. Many are family businesses. The jobs they provide support even more families. The labor unions of Disneyland Resort understand these impacts and support the reopening of the theme park in Tier 3, not Tier 4, which would wipe out jobs and destroy lives. They're killing jobs here, too, because Disney's got to make cuts. And sometimes, you know, granted, a lot of them are being done in California, but sometimes they're done here as well. So people here are losing their jobs. And certain things are happening that are just inconveniences, like certain rides, certain attractions, certain restaurants aren't open except for on the weekends here.
Do you have the article there about the college program?
Oh, hold on just a second. For a lot, let's see, it depends on when the vaccine will come as well as how many doses are available for our population. Let's see, for a large county like us, especially county with the institution of higher education where folks are coming in from the outside the county and outside the state, I think it's going to be very hard to achieve the yellow tier. It depends on when the vaccine. See here, and here's another thing. This was about flattening the curve. That's what they were saying. Now it's about we need to cure it before anything can open. That's part of the doom and gloom. That, you know, there's that's part of the, you can't have hope. You know, Donald Trump was trying not to panic people, and that's a bad thing. He should have been saying, hey, look, you're all going to die, which is wrong. You're not. And Trump himself showed you're not. It's not necessarily a death sentence. For some, it has been. For 200,000 people, it has been. Let's not, you know, we can't, but okay, not all of those were just because of COVID, but we can't ignore the fact that people have died from this thing. But once again, if you are, I don't know, if you're part of the endangered, you need to take care of yourself. But we can't shut down the world because that makes more people endangered. And it makes poor people endangered. Look, if you're rich, you're okay. Rich people are fine. Rich people can go without a job for a year if they've got millions of dollars in the bank. They're good. They're good to go. Have a good time. It's the people like us, you know, where we gotta make a living. Some of us are minimum wage workers, and those get freaking hit. Those get hit by a lot of this bull crap that's going on. They're cutting down hours. They don't need everybody. My daughter and my wife, for Christ's sake, haven't been called back to work from Universal, even though there's crowds, because you know what? There's not as much as there should be. They're not allowed to open up as much as they can. And it's ridiculous because the person with the $50 million bank account is not going to worry about being shut down and hanging out or around his home or not being able to go to work for a year. The person who might have $1,000 or $2 in the bank account, who was hoping to get his now 40 hours a week job back, which thank God it had come back, because the whole they're trying to say the Affordable Care Act. I'm sorry, but I worked at Universal Studios, and I can tell you for a fact what that thing did was it made minimum wage jobs scared to give 40 hours. As soon as they gave 40 hours, they need to give those people insurance plans. And that meant that there can't be full-time employees anymore. They aren't hiring full-time employees anymore. They hire part-time. And that went the way of the dodos. People who are getting 40, maybe 50 hours a week, like you used to be able to go in and say, hey, does anybody want to come home and or go home? I'll work for you. You could do that till the cows came home. Every shift you could get. You couldn't do that after, because now they were like, wait a second, how many hours do you have? Because you can't get more than 32. And it became ridiculous. All these freaking policies they've got are hurting poor people. It's the minimum wage workers. And yeah, sorry, guys, I know we get put down a lot. But yeah, occasionally you have adults who are minimum wage workers. It's not gonna affect the rich people. It's gonna affect those of us who maybe they made their bad life choices as I did, and have found themselves stuck in this kind of position. It hurts us, not the rich people. Sorry, I went on a freaking rant there, guys.
It's all good. It's your channel.
That was a rant?
That's why as climate cultists have such obsession with cow farts. I don't have any idea. Hail Xenu, hello. Let's see. I've been a proud Disney stock owner for 3 days now. I made $30 and I'm ready to go demand they make Darth Vader in Galaxy's Edge. Vaccine is a lie. It won't cure anybody. Flu vaccine, given the flu is still around. I agree. It's here. I've said this since the very beginning. This thing is here to stay. So we have to learn to live with it. And Biden, you're dying with it. No, we're living with it. Just like the flu, some people are going to die and it's horrible. I met a guy, he used to work at my comic shop. We met at the warehouse sale. And I said, yeah, man, yeah, we caught COVID. It was like the worst weekend ever. And he said, my dad died from it. I was like, oh, I apologize for being flippant. And he said, no, I understand. people experience it different, and you have, and he had a lot of problems on top of COVID. It wasn't just the, you know, it exasperated, and you have to take care of yourself, but we can't shut down the world for it. Excuse me. Vaccines don't cure anybody. They prevent them from getting the disease and makes cases less harmful in other cases. Now I'm a Disney shareholder. I'm happy to hear about layoffs. Adds more cash to the bottom line. Capitalism rules. Yucca. There you go. All righty. Anybody want to step on or step over or step into whatever I said there?
Reach on, brother.
Sorry, but
get back to the positive side of this channel.
Okay, you know what? We will. We were talking about the difference between the closings and everything. I was talking about the fact that there's litigation going on because of this. Todd Ament, president and CEO of Anaheim Chamber of Commerce, criticized the decisions as delaying by a year longer reopening of the Disneyland Resort and major theme parks in California, decimating the state's tourism industry. Tens of thousands of workers have already been laid off by the state mandates to remain closed since March. Now, 7 months later, small business owners in our resort areas who've held on by the thinnest of margins have no further hope or recourse to remain in business. It's freaking this thing goes on forever and ever. So I'm not going to continue, but it's ridiculous. You need to open up because they're doing. I said this at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. I said the reaction to this is going to be worse than the actual pandemic.
Well, I kind of disagree. I think they should stay closed, and I think they should learn from this mistake.
What, California or Disneyland, or what are you talking about?
Disney itself, by being this, not being afraid to step on anybody's toes.
Well, what are they going to do? Just open up and say screw them, screw Gavin Newsom?
No, I'm talking about as far as Disney World, what's going on there. Disneyland, you're screwed either way. Yeah. Because they're a business in there, and they have to follow the rules of that state, whatever city they're in. Yeah. But as far as Disney World, there's no reason they shouldn't be full open and being back to normal as far as that. As far as cases, there's always been cases. There's so many people who have not been tested at all. People who have been asymptomatic to these things, and maybe they have passed through, maybe they haven't. And people may have got it and gotten over it.
70% laid off Disneyland employees will still vote for Joe. It's in California. I have no doubt. That's true. I actually, if I were Texas, I would be like, okay, we'll let you in, but you got to go. Look, I see it. I can see it happening where Californians go, well, this sucks. Let's move to another state. I hear they have no property tax in Florida. So let's go there and vote exactly the same way we did to ruin California.
They should move Disneyland to Texas.
All righty. So I wanted to share the screen because you mentioned let's talk about some good news. Now, I don't know how good this will be to POTUS Thump or Professor Pixel, but the Lotus Blossom Cafe has reopened at Epcot's China Pavilion. This is the fast food joint. It's been closed since the pandemic opened. Now, this is basically Panda Express theme park style.
Yep.
But
I was Kung Fu Panda.
But here's the thing. It actually hopefully means that pretty soon we're going to get the 9 Dragons back because the 9 Dragons has turned itself around and is actually pretty good.
You might only get a few dragons this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, Epcot hasn't even really needed their fast food places opened up because they have.
Dude, you are roboting. Yeah.
Sorry. Am I better now?
Now you are.
To be fair, streamer's been acting up for me. You were guys where your pictures were loading into the white circle of death, and then I can still hear you, but you're roboting. And then you go back to being normal. I think it's a StreamYard.
Okay, so Tim, what do you think about Lotus Blossom? Have you ever eaten here?
I don't like the Chinese food in Epcot. It tastes it tastes very generic to me. But you and other people have been saying that the food in recent years has actually been pretty outstanding. So we might
at Nine Dragons.
Nine Dragons, yes. So we might have to check it out.
Also, he's famous for putting hot sauce on everything. You doesn't need hot sauce.
No, not Chinese food. It's a whole different pepper there. Yeah. But the Nine Dragons is actually pretty good.
But I was saying before I became a robot for half a minute there, they haven't even really needed their fast food places open because they have extended food and wine going on. And
and I am so looking forward to that.
See, you're supposed to walk around, not just eat everywhere.
Yeah,
dude, that's what you do. Hold on. First of all, you gotta understand something about Epcot, which, by the way, is the backdrop. Epcot, you go around the food, you go around the countries. It is huge. This is a large. It's not the largest park. That's Animal Kingdom, but Epcot is huge, and it takes a lot to walk around. And so you can make a day. You can ignore everything up front, and you could spend one whole day going from place to place, seeing all the things about different countries, and even trying a little snack here,
You're not having like 4 meals, are you?
No.
You walk around.
No.
Well, usually the servings are a lot smaller.
Say again, Prof.
Usually the servings at these stands that they have while they have food and wine going on, they're a lot smaller. So you can down 3 of them and still feel like, oh, I can fit another thing.
One year in the 1990s, this is back, of course, when prices were lower. Gail and I, we didn't tell each other, but we saved up $150 each, and we never said no. If it looked good, we gave it a try, and we realized we tried damn near everything. And oh my gosh, by the end of the day, we're like, oh, it's so full. But it was a lot of fun. Now it's gotten more expensive, but I still like trying a little bit here. If you find something new, I might give it a try.
Whenever I was there last week, I was working at time. I couldn't go off too much, but I had the spam.
Yeah, you're gone, brother.
Type it in the chat.
Gone.
Here you are.
Sorry, I don't know why StreamYard's doing this. I don't use my Wi-Fi anymore.
So, okay, so you haven't tried Nine Dragons there, Tim. There is, what do you think of Five Spice?
Five Spice?
Yeah, Five Spice.
What's that?
Spice Girls? I don't
know. No, it's a mixture of different spices that is put into some Chinese foods.
I have no idea.
You don't have any? Okay. Yeah, there's a dish called Grandma's Pork Belly at Nine Dragons that I
like pork belly.
And when they put it down, it's like a noodle bowl. And I love noodle bowls, man. Seriously. When they put it down, the aroma hit, and I was like, oh, my Lord in heaven. It was so good. It looked good. The smell hit, and it smelled good. It was just one of those things where everything just fell into play exactly the way you wanted it to. It was definitely worth it. Yeah, I got to tell you, I am definitely a Disney food hound. So I'm very happy to go try different things. Yeah. All righty, let's see what else do we have going on here and around, because I know I got. Say again.
I was asking earlier. Do you have the article about them removing furniture from the college program housing?
By all means, please stay. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't have the article on me.
So they're removing furniture from the they're not doing the college programs anymore.
I know they're not doing it anytime soon.
I'm actually surprised they're still paying for them. So what he's talking about is they invite students sometimes from overseas, sometimes to stay for a year, sometimes for just a few months. A lot of time, the students will come in and they'll come from Japan to work in the Japanese pavilion at Epcot, or China, or Norway, Germany, you know, whatever country they're from. Other times they'll work at places like Universal Studios. And the thing is, they rent these apartment complexes close to the parks. Mm-hmm. But the rent there is out freaking rageous. So because they're only renting it for a month, they might get a 2-bedroom for about $2,000. It's freaking ridiculous. But they put like 5 or 6 people into these rooms like a dormitory, and so they can't do that anymore. So what Professor Pixel is saying, it sounds like they're just giving up the ghost.
Well, they are removing, well, from the complexes, they've removed the furniture. There have been some claims from whenever I skimmed it over earlier that it's to move it to a new complex that they have built.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, okay, that actually makes more sense. Disney buys and/or builds their own apartment complex. Now they pay the students, and the students pay them back for housing. That sounds more like the Disney we know and love. How can we screw students over, you know? Go ahead.
Actually, just pulling up the article now because I found it.
Oh, well, we just talked about it.
Well, I know, but if there's any more information.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right here. To clarify, these were closing already because Disney built a beautiful new complex at Flamingo Crossing. Even without COVID, these were closing.
Okay. So there you go. This, but once again, this is Disney. They will make sure. Remember this, because everybody says it's a great thing, and Tim has even said it's one of his favorite things to see. Walt Disney's original vision for Epcot was to have everybody living in this neighborhood and then traveling to work at Disney. And the neighborhood, the monorail, the transportation system, the grocery stores, everything would be owned by Disney. So Disney pays you, you pay your money right back into Disney. That was his vision of Epcot. So it just seems like, you know, this is one more step towards it. But I do have to admit that model is pretty damn cool.
That's a crazy like idea program. Like, you know, where do you live? I live in Disney World.
Yeah, there's. Yeah, there was, and back in the 40s, you might actually buy stuff from the company store. I have done that at Universal Studios in the backstage area. They have their own convenience store, and they have their own shoe store if you need to buy shoes for work and all sorts of stuff. So,
well, I wonder if the employees on lunch breaks is that they're bringing their lunches, or if they're just buying Disney food there from the restaurants.
Oh, okay. Next up, we have some stuff that is. Are you an annual pass holder there, Tim?
No, I am not.
We have Spooky Surprise shopping. So if you've been keeping up at all with the Minnie Mouse, the main attraction series, you're going to want to get your wallets ready for your next park visit.
Oh, no. My wife collects those.
Apparently, these are ghost minis. So Minnie has died in this. Is that what we're saying? We get a 30% discount on merchandise until October 29th. So if you go to Sir Mickey's, you can find this ghost. It's haunted. It's basically Minnie Mouse Haunted Mansion stuff. You've got the Minnie ears. You got a cup here. I love this pin set. That's more up my alley than anything else I'm seeing here. So this is annual pass holder exclusive stuff. Another thing I wanted to talk about, because I love the food, is Epcot's Festival of Holidays entertainment. Man, I love the Festival of Holidays. Professor, I know you've been. Tim, have you ever been over for any of the festivals?
Not per se, but I've been during definitely holiday times, specifically Christmas and New Year.
I love Christmas and the theme parks, but they've got their holiday kitchens all lined up. and it's they've got some pictures here of the food that's going to be there. American Holiday Table, of course. Germany and Citrus Blossom is going to be up there with their. I've already got one of those bird sippers, but this is just some of the things that they're going to be serving up. Obviously, they're going to come up with some other stuff, and we're going to have full menus coming in. But oh my goodness gracious, I love that period of. Oh, this right here, these sweet potato fries. I have had these so many times because my wife loves sweet potato fries, and she will force this on us. Oh, you gotta go, you gotta get it. Let's go get the sweet potato fries. We have to get it.
Oh yeah,
that's the land all done up in Christmas lights.
That's neat.
Yeah. So pretty soon, I'm sure they're going to have menu announcements as well, and we'll do a whole video on that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Anything else worth talking about, or should we call it?
We could call it here if you want.
One more. One more. I like to talk about the food. Yep, that looks like we got one more thing. Let me share it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a chicken and waffles restaurant. Or at least
serve.
At least a chicken and waffles. Here you go.
Thanks.
Woo, doggy. Review: new chicken and waffles and Banana Foster waffles debut at the Taste of Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. $4.25 for the waffles, for the Banana Foster $4.25, and the chicken and waffles $6.50.
I actually saw that.
Yeah. Oh, look at that too. That looks good. What do you say, Tim? You ever have chicken and waffles? You're a Southern guy.
I'm addicted to it. I eat chicken and waffles about twice a week.
Oh, isn't it such a great thing? It's great to be Southern.
You got the butter on it too.
Yeah, look
chicken waffles, syrup, and butter.
It looks like there's some sort of. Do they have it? Previously, the menu had a Belgian waffle with warm chocolate ganache and a Belgian waffle and berry compote. The waffle with chocolate ganache remains, but there is now a Bananas Foster. The sauce was delicious. It had the perfect sticky sweet taste. The bananas were soft and perfectly cooked. The waffle overall has the perfect caramelized taste without tasting burnt. The portion size is great too, and we basically licked the plate clean.
Compared to some of the things you got there, they're right. That portion size does look pretty fair.
The only thing I could say is what they've got here as far as the chicken, that can dry out really easily and quick. The chicken and waffle is topped with a bacon jam and sriracha maple syrup. Ooh, sounds good. And the dish was greatly mixed of salty and sweet. The jam helped further the flavor profile. The arugula gives a nice flavor on top without being overpowering. And you can taste the sriracha, but it's not spicy. I'm going to go out and give my own review. Let's see. The chicken does look pink inside at times, but we witnessed the chef speak with a guest about it, and he assured her that they temp cook the chicken and it's safe to eat. So there you go. We got ourselves a new chicken and waffle spot.
You know, let me know when you go, and you can go grab that. Oh, wait, no. You have to reserve. Never mind. But I was going to say we could do some resort hopping then. Have that.
Yeah, you can't do the resort hopping, but it would still be nice to go. What are on those sweet potato fries? Moranya, I've had this enough to know. They've got marshmallow, some crushed nuts, and then they have like a little bit of a sweet syrup on top. And it basically tastes like a marshmallow, a sweet potato casserole on Thanksgiving. It's done pretty good. It is done pretty good. All right. So anyway, gang, anything else?
I think that does it, sir.
All righty. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining and talking about the issues. I know this was more of a serious show than normal, as we talked about a little bit of the politics behind all of this. POTUS?
Don't have anything to say except I will be in Disney World in 2 weeks. So if you haven't been to Orlando area and you happen to be at either Universal Studios or Hollywood Studios, Magic Kingdom, or Epcot, be on the lookout for me. My rider and I will be there, and hopefully anyone can too.
And I need to know, should I go in my POTUS Thump T-shirt or just the T-shirt I have with your picture on it?
So I have a question about that. Do they kick you out of the park for wearing MAGA stuff?
I have never heard of that.
I don't know, but
Yeah, they have. So they do kick you off if you bring a Trump flag and you wave it on Splash Mountain, because someone did get kicked out of the park and banned.
Yeah, that could fly off and cause trouble. I absolutely. I saw they had a big Trump banner. No, that can fly off. It could get into the track and it can gum up the gears. It could hit someone else. There are so many things that could go wrong with that. I agree with Disney's decision on that one.
But here's the thing. So I think that is on, as far as technically that is true, but there is something in their policy statement about wearing overtly political things. Mm-hmm. Now, how strongly that's enforced is,
Well, yeah, and what does overtly mean? Trump 2020, I wouldn't consider overtly. That's very vague.
Well, you couldn't wear that.
Trump 2020 is vague.
No, by that I mean you're not saying stuff like abortion kills.
Oh, gotcha.
Like if masks are a conspiracy. That kind of thing. Yeah, build the wall. That kind of thing I see, but somebody wearing a Biden Harris or a Trump Pence or anything like that, even NRA shouldn't be. That right there, you're not saying anything about it one way or the other. You're just boom. It's NRA, and I think if you bring a message in like that, that's when if you've got a shirt with a picture of a dead fetus on it. I
saw a guy in a Trump 2020 mask, so you should be fine if you're wearing it.
Yeah, and I had to kick somebody out who had a shirt. It was one of those FCUK. You remember those shirts for a while? I actually had to boot that guy. My supervisor said, "Dude, you need to take him up."
The ones that say F fear.
Well, no, it used to be a brand in the 2000s. It was FCUK, and yeah, we couldn't have that. So,
well, Arizona is or what they call the T-shirts they use, or they have the things that called the fear ones. And then the things, life is too short. I'd rather live free than live slow or whatever it's called. But they used to have those, and it said F fear on the front, or at the end.
If you're in the theme park, though, I don't see the point in just directly going up.
That guy's wearing a Playboy shirt.
Wearing this shirt. They have T-shirts right there in the gift shop.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You should always be given the option. Well, would you like to buy a T-shirt? Would you like to go? But if it's something political, so long as it's not obvious, like I said, a dead fetus on your shirt with the abortion kills, what you're doing.
If I have a giant picture,
they wanted to boot you because you said you put on a we all have a friend in Jesus or something like that, and they don't like it, then they should be offering.
They'll kick you off if you at least it's all lives matter. They'll kick you off.
I'd rather live a day as a lion than a year as a sheep. So anyway, guys, thank everybody for helping out and talk about this subject, and thank you very much for those of you who hung out with us. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Oh no, you're not going to jump in there, VENKMAN?
And always have a zippity doo dah day.
And we'll see you real soon.